Today's lesson is going to be about completing the square and solving quadratics by finding square roots. So I want to start off with today for problems number 1 here is going about solving quadratics by finding the square roots. What we've done so far is, we've solved quadratics by factoring. We're going to get into the quadratic formula, but I just wanted to show you another way to solve a quadratic, and that being square roots. Okay. So you'll notice what we have going on here. I have x squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 9. If I wanted to go ahead and factor this one, I could take the 9 and move it this way, set it equal to 0, and then find the factors of -8. That's one way to do it. All right. However, you'll notice that this part right here is a perfect square trinomial. All right. And my factors of 1 are 1 and 1. All right. And 1 and 1 together gives you 2. So really, if you were to go ahead and break this one down, you'd have x plus 1, and you would have x plus 1, and that is all equal to 9. Okay? Now, x plus 1 and x plus 1, we see it twice, so we can write that as x plus 1 squared is equal to 9. And now we can go through and solve it using, oh, I hit my eraser, sorry. Now we can go ahead and we're going to write x plus 1 squared. We can go ahead and solve this using square roots. I'm going to take the square of that. All right, take the square root of that. This side right here would be x plus 1 is equal to, and the square root of 9 is going to be plus or minus 3. Okay? So now I'm going to end up with x plus 1 is equal to a positive 3. X plus 1 is equal to a negative 3. This one would be x is equal to a positive 2 when I go ahead and I subtract 1. And this one we would get x is equal to negative 4. All right? So my set of solutions there for this one, for this quadratic, you get x equals 2, and you get x equals negative 4, and we were able to solve that one using square roots. Right? Another example I wanted to take a look at is this one, number 5 right here. All right? You'll notice that this right here is a perfect square trinomial. The square root of 49 is 7, so you have 7 times 7. Okay? Now, if we wanted to go ahead and get negative 14 in the middle, I'm going to have to do negative 7 and negative 7. So this one can be broken down into x minus 7 squared is equal to 7. All right? Now, since we have a binomial squared, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the square root of both sides. I'm going to get x minus 7 is equal to plus or minus root 7. Now remember, it's very important that when you see this exponent right here, and you know that we're taking the square root of a number, we're going to go with the positive, and we're also going to go with the negative. Okay? So now what I'm going to have x minus 7 is equal to a positive root 7, and I'm going to have x minus 7 is equal to a negative root 7. All right? I'm going to add 7 here, and I'm going to add 7 here. So this solution is going to be x equals 7 plus root 7. And then this one, if I add 7 and add 7, I end up with x is equal to 7 minus root 7. All right, some people will go ahead and take these two solutions, and we'll write it like this. X is equal to a positive 7 plus or minus root 7. Okay? So that's solving quadratics using square roots, which is a very effective way to do it. If you can't factor, you can't graph. Now here's what happens. Sometimes what we have to do in order to solve these, we have to do something called completing the square. And it's very important when you're completing the square to come up with a C term here so that you can write a square of a binomial like this right here. This is what we're going for, a square of a binomial. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and we're going to see, well, how can I find this C value so that I can get this square of a binomial, all right? Well, we know that we have ax squared plus bx plus c, where my numbers are my a, my b, and my c. To find the c value so that we can make a square of a binomial, you're going to take the b value, you're going to divide it by 2, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to square that. All right, so for this example, you're going to take b value to 4, you're going to divide it by 2, and you're going to square it. So we actually end up with 4. So my c value here is equal to 4. So if I were to go ahead and rewrite this now as a quadratic trinomial, I got x squared plus 4x plus 4. And if I were to go ahead and factor this thing, I'd end up with x plus 2 squared, square of a binomial. Okay, number 9 here. Take the b value out. All right, so I got 18 divided by 2, and that's going to be squared. So I'm going to end up with 9 squared, so I'm going to end up with 81. This c value here is going to be 81. So my quadratic trinomial is x squared plus 18x plus 81. And to factor that now, you got 9 and 9. So you got x plus 9, and you got x plus 9, so it's x plus 9 squared. That's the square of a binomial. Okay? That's going to help us for these ones on the back, where we're going to go ahead and talking about factoring by completing the solving equations by completing the square. Okay? Your factors of 2 right here are 1 and 2. We're trying to get 2 in the middle. If I add these, I get 3. If I go ahead and I subtract 1 minus 2, I get negative 1. This will not work. You cannot factor this one. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to work on making this side over here a perfect square trinomial. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this 2 and get rid of this 2 over here. And I'm going to end up with x squared minus 2x. I'm going to leave a blank spot here for a c value. And it's going to equal 2. And if I leave a blank spot here for my c value, I also have to balance my equation by doing the same thing on the other side. Okay? So to find my c, remember it's b divided by 2 squared. So I'm going to do negative 2 divided by 2, which is negative 1 squared. So my c value is going to equal a 1. So I'm going to go with a plus 1 here. I'm going to go with a plus 1 here. Okay? This factors into x minus 1 times x minus 1, so x minus 1 squared is equal to 3. And now you can go about taking the square root of both sides. So I'm going to get x minus 1 is equal to a positive and negative root 3. I'm going to have to go ahead and break that up. X minus 1 is equal to a positive root 3, and x minus 1 is equal to a negative root 3. Okay? When I go ahead and add my 1 over, I get 1 plus root 3. And I end up with x is equal to 1 minus root 3. All right? So those are my 2 solutions here. Let's go ahead and let's do one more. All right? This one, factors of 3 or 3 and 1. Can't get you to that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get that 3 out of here. Minus 3 minus 3. So I'm going to be left with x squared plus 6x. I'm going to leave this blank spot to put my c value. It's going to equal negative 3. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. Okay? So, my b value, 6 divided by 2. Alright, so I'm going to end up with c is equal to a positive 9. So I'm going to put plus 9. I'm going to put plus 9. Alright, when I go ahead and I factor this now, I should end up with x plus 3 squared. Alright, and then I'm going to end up with 6 on this side. Now we go ahead and take the radical of both sides. Alright, and I end up with x plus 3 over here is equal to a plus or minus root 6 because we want to go ahead and try and find my 2 solutions. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract 3 here, and I'm going to subtract 3 here. I'm going to end up with x is equal to negative 3 plus or minus root 6. These are my 2 exact solutions for this quadratic, and we know that that is going to be where my parabola crosses my x-axis at. This has been a lesson on solving quadratics by taking the square root, and also solving quadratics by completing the square.